Hi guys, there's a chance that you may not need this video because you know everything about shell scripting and shell commands. But if you're watching this video and you want to follow through because you want to be able to carry out some of the special stuff that you need to do today and subsequently, then this video is for you. So the first thing we need to do is, which is important, is we have to create our repository. So go to your GitHub account and just click on this icon, plus icon here, then select new repository. When you've done that, give it any name you want. I'll call this shell basics. That's all. You can put a description if you like. Let's say this class is started by Precious. Leave everything as it is and just select create repository. After you've done this, you don't need to do anything here. Now that you've created it, the next step for you is to go ahead and get your access key. So I believe you also know how to get your access key already. So you go to settings, you scroll down to developer settings, personal access tokens, then you generate a new token. So when you create a new token, let's create a new one for the purpose of this video. So we create a new token, input your password, then I'll call this shell basics. Let me just call it that. This should be valid for just 7 days. Then you select repo. You can select admin and delete repo. Okay. Then generate token. After generating the token, just click on copy to copy it because you will not be able to see it anymore. Then come over to a page like this or any notepad editor you have and paste your token. So that is the token I just generated. Now let's go back. Now that we've generated our token, the next step for us is to make use of the token. That is, we now need to clone this repository to our local computer. So ensure you are on SSH. Click on SSH here. Then copy the link here. You copy the link. Then you go back to that notepad editor that you have and paste the link. So now that you've pasted the link, all you need to do is it's the same thing, but I prefer to use this one I have here, okay? So what you just do is, I'm going to give you this link. So all you need to do is copy this token or cut it and put it where you have this token here. You see where I highlighted? Paste it there. Then the next step is copy from your username. Mine is Prevo till the ending. And use it to replace from username to the ending. Now that you've done that, the next thing is for you to copy the entire link or cut it. Then you can come down and write the full command git clone and paste it. So this is the command we will use to clone that repository. Now that I've done that, I can now copy everything and go to my terminal. This terminal is called git bash. You can use Windows command prompt, Windows PowerShell, or your VirtualBox and Ubuntu. So I'm going to paste this here. The reason why I'm doing this is so that GitHub will not be telling me to log in every time, asking for password and username, which is very annoying. So I'm just going to do this once and for all. So enter. And it's telling me now that I'm cloning into shell basics, but what I've cloned is an empty repository. So guys, that is it. We are now good to go. So we can test with ls, and you see that's our folder there. So we'll be going into that folder shortly. So let's begin anyways. Let's go into the folder first before we start. Shell basics. So we are inside of that folder, so I can clear now. So as you can see, it is showing master here. It shows that GitHub is currently tracking this folder. If I do git status, which you know already, there's nothing to track. So clear. Now let's begin. So I already have a table for us that we are going to work with. The very first one is called absolute path to directory. So how do you get the absolute path to a directory? You use the command known as pwd, aka print working directory. I'm not supposed to type this here. So to know where you are currently, that is what you call print working directory. To know the folder you are currently in, you do this, okay? But we are not going to work like this. You know why? Because now we have gone beyond using just the terminal. We are now doing shell scripting. And for us to begin with shell scripting, we have to create a shell file. Okay, a shell file is what we will use in running our scripts. So the very first thing we need to do is we need to create that file. And the first file we will create will be called pwd.sh. So first, let's check if we have any file here. No file, so let's clear. So since we want to check print working directory, let's create the file for print working directory. So we will say touch. This is how you create a file. pwd.sh. Actually, the what's it called? The extension doesn't matter. You can leave it as it is. You know what? Let's try it like this first without extension. So let's say pwd, and it has been created. So let's use Vim to edit this file. So let's edit the file and put in the command. So we have to put the command to print a working directory inside. So I'm using Vim editor. So let's begin. For you to do your basic shell scripting, you have to put what is called shebang on top of all your file. So the shebang is like this: the octotop or pound or hash symbol, then exclamation, /bin, /bash. Okay, all your files should have this. Then the command we want to use in this file is pwd, to print working directory. And now that we've done that, we can save and exit. So let me save this, and now I can exit it. So let me clear ALX. So you see, we currently have print working directory in our folder. Now the next thing for us to do is to change the permission of this file, okay? Because if we check this file currently, we may not be able to run the command. Let's try to run it. So to run it, you have to put ./pwd. And as you can see, it's actually working. I think the permission has been set already. But in case your permission is not set, all you need to do is you use change mode. So chmod u, that is for all users, for user, plus x, that is you are giving the user the permission to execute. Then you put the file pwd, okay? And that is it. The permission has been set. So now when we go ahead to run that command again, ./pwd is going to run the command, and we will see the results. And here you have it. It has printed for us our current working directory. That is the very first one. So we can clear. Also, you may want to create a readme file just to be able to give description of what you're doing. So let's create the readme file to readme.md, and let's edit it. So for a heading tag, you use hash, and we'll just call this. We'll call this. So if you want to get heading, use hash. Let's call this shell scripting lecture. So now we can save this file and we can exit. So we have our readme now. Now the next thing when you are using shell scripting is your list directory. But before we list our directory, let's push what we've just done to GitHub. So for you to push to GitHub, the first thing you do is you say git add to add everything. Then the next thing is you say git commit, then a message, then you say something like, we say printed working directory. That was the first thing we did. So enter. And now to push to GitHub, you say git push. As you can see, it's not asking me for any password because I've done the proper thing from the beginning. So if we go and check our GitHub account now, we should not have this anymore. We should have our files now. So as you can see, we have the PWD, okay, that we created. And if we go back, we have our Readme file. Now let's go back to continue working. The next one we want to work on now is list content. So for you to list content in a directory, all you need to do is, let's create the file. A very easy way to create a file is just to say vim, and let's call this file ls, because that is the command we will be using inside. So ls, and let's insert. Don't always forget, for every script you must use what? Your shebang. So hash exclamation mark /bin /bash, then enter. Then the command to list directory is ALX, okay? So we save this, and we exit out. And after exiting, the next thing we need to do is to change the permission of this file. So we do the same thing, u plus x for what file? The file LX. The permission has been changed, and now let's run this file ./LX, and let's see if it's going to show us all the files we have inside of this directory. And there you have it. It is showing us that we have a readme file, a LX file, and a PWD file. Remember that we created it, right? Now let's clear. Let's check what we need to do next. The next thing is home directory. So home directory is the natural home of the user. So how do you go to the home directory? Very easily. Let's create the file that we will use as the script to do the home directory. So we say vim to open it in Vim. Then let's call this home, because we are going to the home directory. Open. Then don't forget your shebang again. Always put the shebang if it's a shell scripting file. Bin, bash, and the command to go home at any time is cd, and this, I don't even know the name, but that is the symbol, okay? So when you are done with that, we can escape, save, and move out. And the next thing is change permission of that file, because we have to run it to know that what we have done is right, plus x, and the file name is home, okay? Permission has been changed. Now let's run the file home. ./home to run the script, and let's see where it takes us to. Take note of this directory and see what happens if I do that now. If I run this script. As you can see, it took us back home. And you know why it took us back here? That is because the home of this directory is actually the shell basics file that I'm working with on this folder. But if you are working with some other application, it will take you somewhere else, okay? So in case it takes you anywhere else, to come back to where you are before, just do cd dash, and it will bring you back, okay? So let's clear. So we've done a lot. Let's push those to GitHub, git add dot. Sorry, I went back. So let me go back to my directory. So cd into shell basics, clear, git add, git commit message, added home script. Let me clear before I do git push, then git push. So as you can see, it didn't ask me for password or username because I've done it right the first time. So now I clear again. Now, what if you want to see all the files inside of your directory? Okay, so let's check this out. Imagine you want to check all the files, but instead of just the files, you want to check them in long format. How do you go about this? We use the command called ALX normally. It shows us all our files. But when we do the command to show us the long listing, it's called LXL. And look at what it's going to show us now. It is showing us a long listing of all our files. All we did was added this / flag and it changed everything. So this is exactly what you have to put inside of your shebang file. Alright? So clear. So that's LX all. LX is going to show us all the file. LX / L is going to show us all the files inside of the directory in a long format. And when we do, there's another command called LXAL, and this is it here. So this command, it lists all the files in long formats, and it also shows us the hidden files. Okay, so this is it. It will show you the hidden files. Let me do L again so that you see it. As you can see, there are no hidden files here. Hidden files are dot files. But if we do LX / AL, as you can see, we can see the dot files now. That is why you use A. You use the flag A. The flag A will bring out all the dot files. The flag L will bring out all the files in this directory in a long format. Okay? So I believe you can also do or put this in your shell script by yourself. Or let's just create it. Let's do it together. So let's create a file called long because of long format. And let's do the shebang again. Shebang bin bash, and to print all the long files to print all the files in long formats with the dot files or the hidden files, you use this command. So let's save. So I'm not going to create a shell script for all, but at least you know how to create the shell script now. Then after creating your file, ensure you always change the permission. So I'm changing this permission again, long, so that it can be executed. Okay, now let me execute it. / long, and let's see what happens. And it did it. So instead of you typing the command in the terminal, you can put it in a file and run it as a script, and it will still do the same thing for you. So let's clear and return. The next thing is, you may want to list all users and group as an ID. So let's look at this. Normally we have this. As you can see, it is showing my name, Precious Ireo. You understand? But what if you don't want to show my name? How do you go about this? Very simple. You use a new flag. So when you do your LX, you can say / A. So A is going to show us all the dot files. Take note, all the hidden files. A will show us the hidden files. L will show us all the files in long formats like this. And the new flag that will turn my name to a number is the letter N. Okay? So if you press enter, you won't see my name anymore. Instead, it will show it as a number based on my user ID. Okay? So as you can see, before we used the flag, we had Precious Ireo. And now that we've used this flag, the flag N, it has turned my name to what? It has turned my name to a number. 197.197.610. Okay, that is my identification on this computer. Just compare both and you will get the point. So that is it. So to print your user ID as a number instead of a name, you add the flag N to your ls command. Now let's clear. The next thing is create directory. And I know you know how to do this already. So how do you create a directory? You use mkdir to create a directory. So let's create a directory called Shelly. Okay, so we've created Shelly and let's print it, or let's list them all. And as you can see, we have the directory called Shelly. All right, and I believe you know how to put this inside of the shell command, inside of the script, instead of typing it in the terminal. So I'm not going to do that for you. I know you can do it. So let's proceed. Moving files, deleting files, we will do that together. So how do you move a file? Very easy. Let's create a quick file. In short, let's move this pwd file to Shelly. So to move a file, all you do is you say mv, which is move, mv, all right, mv, then what file do you want to move? Pwd, and where do you want to move it to? We want to move it to Shelly. All right, if I press enter, oh, permission denied. Let's see why the permission is denied. Clear. ls all pwd, it shouldn't be denied. Okay, let's go again. Clear. Let's create a new file for this. Let's just say touch moving. Let's call this moving. Okay, so ALX, you can see moving here. So let's move moving to Shelly. So mv, we are moving the file moving and we are moving it to Shelly. And let's list our directory again. Let's see if moving is still here. As you can see, moving is no longer here because it is now inside Shelly. We can check it out by checking all the files inside Shelly. So we say ls of Shelly. And as you can see, moving is now inside Shelly. Clear. The next one is deleting files and deleting directory. So let's delete a file and let's delete a directory immediately. So let's go into Shelly, or no need. Let's delete it from here. So to delete a file, first see where we are. Okay, we are in shell basics. So to delete a file inside Shelly, we have to go into Shelly. We know moving is there. Okay, so to delete it, we would say rom, then the file is inside Shelly, so go into Shelly. What file are we deleting? We are deleting moving. Now if we do LX of Shelly again, as you can see, Shelly is now empty. Now that we have deleted the file, let's also delete the directory of Shelly. So the first command you can use is romdir called remove directory and delete Shelly. And as you can see, Shelly is gone. Let's list everything we have again. We no longer have Shelly. All right? I'm not putting them inside the script anymore because I know you can do it, but you have to put them inside the script. The next command is back to previous directory. So how do you go back to previous directory? We've done it before. It's cd and dash. It takes you back to where you were before. So if you were in a directory before and you come to another one, this is a quick way to go back. So if I say cd dash, it takes us back. Okay, see, it has taken me back to where? To shell. From shell basics, it moved me back to shell, but I have to go back into shell basics. So cd shell, you don't need to type it completely. Use tab for autocomplete, then enter. So let me clear, then let's check what is next for us. Now, let's list multiple directory contents in long format at once with hidden. So, What this is saying is you can list the files of many directory, not just one. So let's see what directories we have, by the way. ALX. We don't have any directory. So let's create 3 directories at a go. Okay? Let's create one. Let's call this ABC, DEF, GHI. Now we have 3 directories. ALX, as you can see now. So let's clear. And now that we have 3 directories, let's print everything inside of those directory. I don't have anything in those directory now, but I don't want to. Okay, let's put some files inside. So touch. I'm going to create. Let me just create a file. I'll call this movie. So I'm going to copy movie into all those directory. So movie, I want to put movie in ABCDF, ABCD, DEF, and GHI. Okay. So let's do it. CP movie ABC. I'll do it one by one so that it doesn't look complicated. I've copied it to ABC. Now let me copy it to DEF. To do what I just did, you just use up. So if you want to get your previous command, use up, arrow key, then GHI. Okay, so clear. Now we have movie inside of those 3 directory. Now, how do we print what is inside of those 3 directory at a time? Let me put this inside of a shell script. So let's call this plenty. Okay, I'll call this plenty. Then I will do the shebang. The first shebang is, so I'll say bin bash. And how do we print multiple directory? So we want to print what we have inside of which directory? ABC, DEF, GHI. So we say LX. Since we want to print hidden files and all long formats, we say AL, okay? Or you can say LA, it doesn't matter, AL or LA. Then the first one we want to check is what? ABC, right? You can put a forward slash. ABC, DEF, and GHI. These are 3 directories, okay? Now we can save and quit. And let's change the permission of that file. U plus X. The file name is what? Plenty. Let me clear so that it works from the top. Then now let's run it. Dot forward slash plenty. That's ambiguous. It says no such file or directory. But we have it. We have ABC, DEF. So let's go back and rework our plenty file. So what's the problem? In short, let me add something to it. So let's also print what we have in our current directory. So to print what you have in the current directory, you use dot, okay? Then let me remove the forward slash. Maybe that's where the error is coming from. Save, clear, and let's rerun plenty. So as you can see, plenty has run successfully. Now let me break it down for you. The first thing plenty did was it checked for all the files we have in our current directory. This is the current directory. Can you see that we have ABC, DEF, GHI here? So it printed everything. This is it. This is what is showing here, dot. Dot means current directory. Then it also went inside ABC directory. It printed out the dot files and the file we copied there, movie. It did the same thing for DEF and it did the same thing for GHI. So as you can see, that is how you print everything inside of different directory at a time. So, on to the next one. Check file type. So how do you check a file type? To check a file type, let's check all the files we have. So let's check the type of this file called plenty. All you do is you use the command called file plenty, enter. And as you can see, it says plenty is a born again shell script. Remember, it is a shell script because we have the shebang inside of it. So it's telling you now that this file called plenty is a born again shell script, but it also contains ASCII test executable. That means the test inside of it is executable. So you can try the file command for the different files that you have too. So let's clear. Now, the next thing is creating symbolic link. Symbolic link is like your shortcut on your computer, and it's pretty straightforward to create one. So let's assume we want to create a symbolic link of this PWD. Okay, so we want to create a symbolic link of PWD inside of ABC so that we can access PWD from inside ABC. Though it's not necessary, but let's just do it so you can see how to create symbolic link. And how do we go about it? You use the command called ln, which means link, s for symbolic, then the directory where you want to create, or the folder where you want to create the link. So we want to create it inside of the folder ABC, and let's give the link a name. We will say link to PWD. Alright, this is how to create a symbolic link. You use ln with the flag -x, then the folder where you want to put the link, then the name of the link, then enter. Let's clear and let's check if we did it right. So ls, as you can see, we have our link to PWD, but something looks wrong. cd, it created it as a folder, which is wrong. So let's redo it. So /LX, okay, put your / if it's a folder, and let's do that again. Oh, failed to create symbolic link to PWD, no file or directory. It's alright. Let's clear that. Let's redo it. So the next command we'll be checking out is copying multiple files and moving multiple files. So how do you copy multiple files and move multiple files? It's still the same way. All you need to do is just to use the command cp. So let's assume that we have some series of files. Let's clear. Let's clear, okay. So let's see all the files that we have. Let me create some test files. So I will say a.txt, b.txt, c.txt, d.txt, e.txt. So all these files has been created, ls. Now let's assume we want to copy all those files, or if we want to copy all those files, all these txt files. But as you can see, they are much. So instead of doing them one by one, we can just use a copy command using regex. So we say copy /u, then asterisk all file that ends with txt, and let's copy them to ghi, to the folder ghi. Come on. to the folder GHI. Okay, so they have been copied, and let's check again if they are still in our working directory ls. So you see we copied actually, right? Let's also go into GHI, or let's do ls of GHI. And as you can see, we also have them inside GHI because we copied them. Okay? We copied all those files. Now, the next thing we can do is we can create some other files. Let's say, okay. So what we can do is we can actually copy all these files that starts with, let's say, with a small letter. But that would be too much, right? So moving multiple files. So if we move all the small letter files, they would all go into, let's create some capital letter files. So let's say touch ab.tst, cd.tst, ef.tst, gh.tst. I think that's enough. So LX, they've all been created. Now, let's move all these files into a directory. Let's move them into DEF, okay? So, let's do this with a shell command since we've not done that in a while now, with shell scripting. So let's create a file called capital letter. So we can use vim. Let's call this capital. Then let's do our shebang. Bash. Then let's move all the files that starts with capital letter. So you say mv. So this is called a wildcard. Okay, it's a wildcard. Upper. This will move all the uppercase letter or capital letter with asterisks, that is all of them, and we are moving them to where? We are moving them to DEF. Okay? DEF. Now we can save this script and we can close it. Now let's change the permission. U plus X, capital, permission changed, clear. Let's see our files first. We still have them here, so let's clear again. Now let's run it. Capital. The shell script has been run. Let's check our LX again to see if they are still there. And we don't have them here anymore. But let's check DEF. LX DEF. And as you can see, we've moved all the files with capital letter into DEF. So clear. Now, what else can we do? Let's delete files with regex. So how do we delete files with regex? It's simple. It means just like what we did, but instead you are removing files. So let's see, what file do we have that we can remove? LX. So we can remove all these TST files. And how do we do that? We say arrow M, then asterisk, and any file that ends with TST, remove it. And let's do ls to see if we still have them. And you see all our .tst files are no longer here because we just deleted them. The next one is creating parent and child directory at once. So what if we want to create a folder inside a folder inside a folder? Very straightforward. So let's try it out. All you do is mkdir, then you use the flag P, then all the folders you want to create. So I'm going to do this with states and country. So let's start with Nigeria. No, let's do Africa. Africa, Nigeria, okay, Lagos, and Ikeja. So this is a city inside of Lagos. And let's see what happens. 4 directories will be created for us, but they will be inside of each other. So let's check them out. And as you can see, we have Africa. So let's go into Africa. Let's do an LS of Africa. You see, inside Africa, you have Nigeria. Let me clear. Now let's do LS of Nigeria. You have Lagos. And let's do LS of Lagos. So it will be LS. I can just do this like this. LX Nigeria / Lagos. And you will have what? Ikeja. So you see, it works. So let's go back to our previous directory. To go back to previous directory, use cd ... So we are there, and we can confirm with pwd. We are in shell basics. So let's clear. The next one is listing files in different formats. So normally we've been listing our files like this. We have a lot of files now. But what about if we want to list them in another way? We can do that. And how do we do that? Let's clear. Let's assume we want to list them in straight lines, separated by commas. We can say LX, then the flag, X. Just for you to understand, let's check LX on the man page. So it doesn't look like I'm pulling this from the sky. So list entries by lines instead of columns. So we don't want them in columns anymore. We want them in line. That is why this X is here. They will be on a line. Then also we want to show all the hidden files. Then also the separator. So let's check what M stands for. So what is M here? M means we want it to be separated by comma. So M, and let's add one more, P. So P means if there's a directory, put a slash in front of it. So let's see. And as you can see, all our files that were previously, okay, let me do it below, LX. So all these files that were stacked like this on top of each other, .git, they are now on lines, but instead we have .git. You understand? So now they are no longer in columns, but now they are in comma separated lines. That is the idea. Okay? So clear. And finally, magic in shell. So you use magic. Magic is a file. Magic works with file. So it's a file flag that you use in checking some stuffs about your file. So you can check what's it called? Let me see if I can get the yeah. So you can check the MIME type, the encoding of a file, or let's say you have a lot of files and you don't know their dimensions, or you don't know a lot of things about those files anymore. You can use the magic operator to check a lot of things about those files. So let's assume that we have some files. Okay, or we are going to create those files. So let's assume that we have files that have dimension of money. Okay, money. Let's say money in capital letter. But the files are so much, and we are looking for a way to get all of them. We can use this shell magic to work with such file. So how do we begin? First, we create a file. Okay, that is going to be our magic file. So let's just call it money, because we want to check for money. So you say vim money. And now I've created money file. Let's edit it. So the first thing is we set the offset 0, Then you use tab. Then what do you want to check for? We want to be checking for the string. Anywhere you see a string of what? String money, that is money in capital letter. We want to check all our file. Anywhere you see a file that mentions the string money, then tell us this. This is a money file, okay? Enter. Then we now have to set the MIME type. And what will be the MIME type? We use a exclamation mark, double colon, MIME. Then we can say test/money. Interesting, right? You will see this in action very soon. So now we are done with this. So what we have done here is we set an offset of 0, that is start from the beginning of the file, check for any string that has the mention of money. Then this will be the description. This is a money file, and give it the MIME type of test/money. So let's do this. So I'm out. Let's clear. As you can see, we have the money file now, but we have to turn it to a magic file so that it helps us do this our process automatically. So how do we turn it to a magic file? That is pretty straightforward. We say file, compile to a magic file. And what file are you compiling? We are compiling the money file. Enter.